What is up, everybody? Before we get started, oh yeah, can I get another woo? Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much for attending today's session. We've got a lot in store for you, and we're thrilled to show it. Now, today's breakout session is called Prototype a Game Level in 20 Minutes with Unity Muse. And in this session, we're going to cover everything from what in the world is Unity Muse to the demos that actually showcase just how powerful, just how game-changing this product can be. Now, one key theme I want to call out is that Muse is here to accelerate your creation process. And we even put it to the test by timing the creation process in some of these demos. Pretty cool stuff, right? Now, as an introduction, my name is Gahng. I am a senior technical product manager at Unity. I'm also the product lead launching Muse Sprite, as well as Muse Texture. We thought it would be fun to throw in some details about our journey, a fun fact, as well as what game we're currently playing. So my journey is that I'm a former special education teacher, turned aspiring lawyer, turned product manager. And the common thread line throughout my career has always been about empowering people, and in this case, empowering creators. My fun fact is that I am a T1 esports fan. Any esports fans here? Yeah, there we go. And the game that I'm currently playing is Spider-Man 2. I got a yay. I haven't gotten to the part where I encounter Venom, so please, no spoilers. Alex, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Alex Reid. I'm the engineering lead on the Muse Texture and Muse Sprite for the machine learning side. My journey was actually, I was building a game with my daughter, and we couldn't find the textures we wanted. It was a long time to get everything. So I built a tool to help us create textures. That tool became Barium AI, and now I'm continuing that work at Unity. Fun fact is I love building IoT gadgets, hardware devices, automation, all kinds of stuff. And we really play too many games together to name, but the main ones are Space Engineers, Raft, Slime Ranchers, and all kinds of stuff.
Awesome. Thanks, Alex. Now, I also want to take a moment here to acknowledge the team behind the two tools that you're going to see today. Thank you, team, for the amazing work that you do every day. Now, if I may, I want to take us back in time for a moment here. Unity became what it is today because they simplified game development, right? And now we're here to say that we're continuing this and possibly maybe make it even more exciting than it already is with generative AI. Introducing Unity Muse. Now, what is Muse? Well, I want you to think of two things. One, generative AI. Two, a toolbox. I'll say it one more time. Generative AI and a toolbox. Oh yeah, I see someone going like that. Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. That was great. Now, I want to slow down here for a moment and talk through this slide because it may just be the most important way to understand Muse. For all the Unity users who want to accelerate productivity regardless of skill level, with Unity Muse, our users can leverage a collection of generative AI tools to rapidly and scalably produce customizable assets in the context of their Unity game environment. Now, there are a couple key words to call out here. One, rapidly. With Muse, we want to, again, accelerate your productivity. Two, scalably. We want you to be able to scale your asset creations in a matter of seconds. Three, customizable. The assets that you create should fit your vision. It should match the style needs of your game. And then finally, four, regardless of skill level. Muse is for anyone at any level. In the end, our North Star has been a simple but powerful goal. And that is, we want to give our users AI superpowers to accelerate their productivity. Now, there are two tools that I want to call out today out of the generative AI toolbox that we have called Muse. The first is Muse Texture, and the second is Muse Sprite. We'll start with texture. Now, textures can really be anything, right? There's an infinite variety of textures. By the way, most of the textures that you see here were generated by Alex's 5-year-old daughter using Muse texture. Pretty cool, right? And it's these textures that help create the compelling and exciting worlds that you see in games today. But as one user describes it, the process of creating and exploring textures is slow, and it's painful. But what if in a matter of seconds, you can generate a rich variety of textures? What if by simply dragging and dropping it into your scene, you go from an untextured scene to one that is completely textured? Here's your first look at Muse texture. Let's say you want to prompt for a rainbow-colored slime, hit generate, and in a matter of seconds, you get rainbow-colored slime textures. Let's say you want paving stones. Same drill. Punch that into the prompt, hit generate, and you'll get that texture. Let's say you want red tile. Hit generate, and you will get red tiles. Now let's say you want something a little more exotic, like metal slime. Throw that in there, hit generate, and you get metal slime textures. Now generating is one thing, but artistic control is a whole other thing. And so we made it a point to provide features so that you can edit and customize the textures that you generate. Alex will dive into those details in the demo. Now here is an empty scene. It's a pretty cool scene, but the floors are empty, the walls are empty, the ceilings are empty. Now, what if you can take that texture and simply drag and drop it into the scene? So you can do that with the wall as you're seeing here, and it goes by really fast. Really just takes a second, right? Now, as you generate more textures, and you drag and drop all of them into the scene, you're going from one that is completely untextured to one that is now completely textured in a matter of a few minutes. Pretty cool stuff, right? Now, let's switch gears and talk about Muse Sprite. Sprites are what makes games games, right? You play as sprites, you interact with sprites. By the way, these were all generated using Muse Sprite. Now, I'm curious to know, by a show of hands, do we have any folks who participated in the beta program? Yes, that's what I like to hear. Awesome, so you guys will know this story. So during the beta program, we hosted several bi-weekly webinars. And in one of the webinars, we generated one thing, but using our Sprite feature called Doodle, we ended up with something a little bit unexpected. So here's Alex prompting for a chicken sprite. You hit generate, you get a couple chicken sprites. You also see Alex trying to draw a little doodle of the shape to guide how these next chicken sprites are going to be generated. Now, one user said, I see a laugh. Now, one user said, hey, that looks like a chicken doodle, yeah, but it looks more like a dinosaur. So we leaned into it. We gave it a pair of arms and prompted for a T-Rex chicken. We hit generate, and in a matter of seconds, boom, the T-Rex chicken was born. And if that wasn't enough, we took it one step further. We decided to prompt for a rainbow-colored T-Rex chicken. And there you have it. So the whole point is this. With Muse Sprite, you can generate something that is familiar, but you can also generate something that is a little different, a little new. And so I'm here to announce that starting today, we will have T-Rex chicken pop-up shops all over the world. I'm obviously kidding, but wait for it. We do have T-Rex chicken stickers that we will be giving out after this session. Pretty cool stuff, huh? Awesome. Now, we're about to switch gears again and go into the actual demos. And in this demo, we're going to showcase Muse texture. And the demo's purpose is to texture a 3D scene in under 20 minutes. Now, to make sure everyone's following along, I created a little bit of a cheat sheet, and I'll talk through them. First, we have the generate feature. The generate feature is pretty straightforward. You create a texture with just a text or image prompt. 2, you have variate. Generate variations of what was already produced. Again, this whole idea of being able to scale, right? 3, in paint. Draw over the parts of the texture that you feel like needs to be corrected, and then generate the corrected versions of them. And then 4, upscale. Increase the resolution of the texture from 512 pixels to 2048 pixels using AI. And then finally, reference. Provide a reference image to guide the shape and the color of your generations. Alex, over to you.
Thanks. So on the left here, you see the default HDRP demo scene, and on the right is Muse texture. This is actually me texturing this, and just keep in mind, I'm not a technical artist, I'm an amateur. So I just start out prompting for some concrete and some dirty concrete. I find one I like of each, so I convert those to material. I noticed there was actually after tweaking the map there, there's a little blemish that I come back and fix, but you can see, you can just quickly adjust the maps if they're too intense or not intense enough. And also likewise for the dirty concrete here. So I was happy with those, enough to try them in the scene. And we're 20 seconds in and we already have 3 materials here. So yeah, so testing them out in the scene, I wasn't exactly happy with how they tiled. You could see some of the imperfections. So I play around with the settings a bit. And they're more apparent there. So I come back and the dirty concrete was actually not too bad. So after trying to fix the blemish on this one, I still wasn't happy with it. So I do upscale the 2K, the dirty concrete to 2K resolution. But what you're seeing here is our refinement and our in-painting feature. So you can regenerate specific spots of the texture if you're not happy with them. So yeah, I still wasn't happy with it, so I went with the dirty concrete upscaled now. And at this point, so you don't have to sit around for 19 minutes watching this, it's sped up. So yeah, while that's upscaling, I moved on and I wanted some nice brown square tile floor. So you just prompted for brown tile using the pattern feature. So with the pattern feature, we provide a bunch of pre-created patterns, or you can supply your own pattern. And the generation will follow it very closely. So yeah, at this point, I've had the upscaled dirty concrete, so I was happy with that. Started applying it to the rest of the scene here. But at this point, I noticed that the brown tile had a bit of a grout line missing, so I try a couple more. And I ended up with one that was had a bit more color variation. It looked a lot nicer, and the grout was pretty good. So that would be the third one here. So still at this point, we're only a few minutes in, and we've already got 7 materials. So yeah, same thing, moving on to the frame for the plant box. I was aiming for some kind of aluminum or steel with a bit of worn look to it. But it was directly under the lighting, so I wanted the tiling density to be a bit higher so that if you look at it closely, the shadows look very nice. And the first one you can see came out with a pattern that was really visible when you repeated it, so I tried a bunch more. This is the beauty of this, you can try as many times as you want. Yeah, tweaked the material just a little bit, and it came out quite good. Yeah, so I was happy with that. I used the same thing for the trim on this room here. And now I start adding some color to the room, so I wanted some gold for the railings. I was actually happy with the first one that we got, even though I generated a bunch. and also applying it to the railings down the hall in the other section of the room. Yeah. So at this point, I wanted a bunch more color where you will see the red tiles that you've seen before, and also some copper for the divider between the rooms. I actually spent a good amount of time on the copper, probably a fifth of this entire recording was spent messing around with the copper. It's got, on the back side of that divider, there's some really intense spotlights. It took a lot of adjusting to get something that I really liked. Again, we're at like 14, 15 minutes in, and we have almost the same amount in materials. Yeah, and I was pretty happy with that. So then I moved on to the final room, and there's great lighting in this room, so I wanted something quite reflective. And the materials I had already created before looked pretty good on these props, so I went with that. The only exception was the tiling on the frame of the chair. So just keep in mind, everything in the scene is UV unwrapped in a way that works really good with seamless materials. So these are all seamless materials. So yeah, adjusted a little bit for the frame, got some nice fabric for the chair. And of course some white marble to interact really nicely with the light and get the good reflections in from HDRP. It's awesome how quick the room can come together with just one material. Yeah, but this last section here was offset a little bit, so if I had reused the marble, you would be able to see a visible seam, so I went with a red carpet in this case. So at this point, it has been 19 minutes of recording time, and the entire scene is textured. And that's close to 20 different materials that were exported. So. This is what I can do as an amateur. I would really love to see what all of you can do as professionals. I do.
Pretty awesome, right? All right, so we're going to switch over to another demo. And to Alex's point, what happens when you put this tool into the hands of a professional artist? I want to spotlight one of our beta users. His name is Hugo Caustic. He is the founder of Far From Here Studios, based out in France. He's also a technical artist as well as a generalist game developer. Hugo used Muse Texture to create an incredible world, and we thought it'd be great to showcase that today. So Hugo, thank you so much for allowing us to showcase your work. Alex?
So what you see here was built by Hugo in 2 evenings, just over a weekend. The entire world was built from scratch. He sculpted all of the terrain. Every texture you see here is made with Muse Texture, with the exception of the 3D foliage. Even that dragon you saw on the shield was made with Muse Sprite. So he used multiple different techniques, including like texture projection, vertex painting to apply the moss here, also the moss on that big skeleton you saw earlier. And this is, for just 2 evenings of work, really amazing. Definitely better than anything I could build myself. So really, really awesome work, Hugo. Thanks for letting us show this.
2 evenings. Pretty awesome, right? Yeah. Thanks again, Hugo. Awesome work. Now we're going to do one more demo, and that is create a 2D scene in under 20 minutes using, in this case, Muse Sprite. Alex had created this scene with the assistance of his 2-year-old, right? This time? Yep, his 2-year-old daughter. Now, I want to call out 5 key features as a little bit of a cheat sheet once again. The first 3 you're familiar, but I'll still talk it through. You have generate, being able to create 2D sprites with a text prompt or reference image. You have variate, generate a variation of what was produced or supply your own image as a reference. You have inpaint, draw over the part of the 2D sprite that you don't quite like, that you think needs to be corrected, and then generate corrected iterations of them. And the last 2 are quite interesting. So you saw the doodle feature with the T-Rex chicken. So with the doodle, you can hand draw a doodle to accompany and guide a text prompt to generate your 2D sprite. And then finally, style. This one's a big one. Train the style generator to create the assets that match the look and feel of your game. And Alex will dive into that as well. Alex, right back at you.
So like YJ said, I had a 2-year-old sitting on my lap for this whole video. And I am also not a 2D artist. I've done very few 2D scenes, so everything was built at the request of my daughter with the exception of me adding a couple extra things. So she wanted a game where you could feed and pet and wash a horse. So we start with just a basic empty barn, and she wanted a brown horse. So we try out a couple variations, and she picked this one out. And she immediately wanted food and stuff for it, but we needed some props to put the food and things on. So we go for some barrels. After the barrels, we do some crates, some boxes, you'll see. And keep in mind, this is probably the 3rd or 4th 2D scene I've ever made in my life. Yeah, you can actually see there's an animal in the box, and that was because the style that this was done in was trained on Happy Harvest, only on the animal sprites. So when you're using this tool, you can supply your own sprites. It will learn the style. They don't have to be sprites, they could be images as well. But it will learn the style of what you supply. And everything you generate will bias towards that. So yeah, you can see here, she wanted some soap for washing the horse, but the one that we liked had some weird text artifacts on it, so we inpainted those out. And again, you're seeing a few animal artifacts mixed with the brush. So we turn the style strength down. So when you train the style model, it works in tandem with our base model. So you have to find a good balance depending on what you're generating. So we got a brush that she was happy with. And she wanted a potion, so why not? So yeah, here you go. We're fixing up the potion with some inpainting. And of course, you have to be able to feed this horse. You cannot forget the food. So yeah, we generate some carrots and some apples. Yeah. And just a little tweak on the stem, and it's good to go. And this whole thing took 17 minutes, real time. Ready?
17 minutes. Awesome stuff. Okay, now to recap. What can Muse do for you? Well, it can help you create infinite variations in a matter of seconds. It can give you artistic control. That's quite important here. So make AI work for you using more than just words. Work in the scene. Context is everything. I'm sure a lot of us here can relate to this one. Customize creations to match the style of your game. And ultimately, give yourself AI superpowers. That is Unity Muse, and we're just getting started. Thanks, everybody. We love to stay in touch with our users, so if anyone wants to reach out, these are our LinkedIn profiles. Feel free to scan the QR code and reach out. We'd love to get in touch. Thanks again. Enjoy.